what? To the direction. So I think the runner is supposed to know to the path is that the runner is taking these three components. But you're saying you can take one or three for one. The runner is very sure of why he or she is taking that particular one day because he has already been given now taking the ideas that are there. Steps which are these careers.
Yes, especially teachers. So when you're talking about the pedagogy and all that, so they come and identify this. So because these are magnetic. Yeah. So we give them, they're able to identify because actually, for me, by the way, I've told my teachers, this one, they must be doing all this and they must be able to relate to they have to know all those, where those subjects come from. So they have to work backwards, they have to work backwards, and then, so because that's the only way the teachers need, especially if you have values. One of the values, the parts which is that is being pushed, the Dutch, which is a really
Career pathways should be of interest to learners at all levels. The moment you start talking about abilities and potentials, you are talking about career pathways. And at earlier levels, now if we break it down, what we call early years, the environment plays a big factor because parents are involved, and as the director says, attitudes are formed at that level. There are some views that are planted in the eyes of the children that they will never change after grade 3 or grade 4. So this is where our teachers come in, making sure that the child is left to be a free soul like they're supposed to be at that point. Then we come to upper primary. If you look at it in terms of the key goals of knowledge, at pre-primary level, or early years, we are giving learners an opportunity to interact. That's why the studios we went through, if you had some of our leading questions, it was about interaction. That interaction will already let you know where the learner is going. As you get to upper primary, the key goal changes to socialization. We want to start socializing these learners to three main things. One, to diversity of knowledge. Yes. One, there's two, to the concept of education, learning, especially academic education. And then the key one is to the range of values or attributes that they may want. This center demystifies CBC. And if you remember, I said, many Kenyans think about CBC in terms of pen and paper or in terms of print. They look at the curriculum designs, they look at the books, and then sometimes they look at the buildings in schools. And they say, you and your CBC and the other is so expensive. If you want now to visualize, to create mental pictures around CBC, this center gives it to you. Two, I'm really excited at the way the staff here have internalized what strand, substrand, exists at in what learning area at which level. And they can explain why this is relevant to children in early years, at what stage it becomes relevant to children in upper primary, children in junior school, and they can even link it with the pathway. And they can talk about it with ease. Three, there is something about, in relation to what I've said second, the fact that a teacher needs to be all-round in their mastery of what the entire curriculum provides. So that you don't say, I'm a teacher of religion, I don't really want to care about fruits. I'm a teacher of fine art, I really don't want to care about pre-technical studies, because you can see the teacher who took us through what is available in pre-technical studies and what the artists can do with it and what the person is doing design. There's a fourth important thing that we learned, the link to the pertinent and contemporary issues. Ultimately, we take learners to school so that they can help solve problems. And every studio we have gone to, including where we are, is a problem-solving demonstration. What learners can do, because that's what CBC is about. Every time I'm asked, in one word, what is about CBC, it is what learners can do with what they learn at school. I think the fifth one, and the most important thing that we take away, is the fact that it's doable. As a country, we can harness local resources, and where we buy, we can maximize on those resources to actualize learning. We need to find ways, and we shall be having consultations with the director and even the ministry of escalating this at the institute level, the ministry level, at the counties level. And now I know where to bring them when I have many questions about the practicalities of CBC.
CBC is the best curriculum that we would ever have. And one of the things I say is that one that is I'm so passionate about CBC is that it's actually a balanced curriculum. We have knowledge, and for us we think like knowledge is like a pillar, and skills is also another pillar, and then those are like two powerful engines, very powerful engines. But as you know, an engine requires chassis for support. We have the values that are part of the curriculum as a support for the knowledge and the skills. But we also have something that is very, very important. That is the attitude. Now, the attitude for us is like the oil to the engine. You know, if an engine is properly oiled, it will, it will perform optimal. We want to change the attitude. We realize if we are able to change the attitude of the learners in respect of a particular aspect of learning, for instance, then they will be okay. They will go and get the knowledge and skills very easily because their attitude are changed. So that like most of the learners, if they go to the farm, you ask them about how their experience at the farm was, they will tell you, I didn't know farming is this interesting. That attitude has changed. So now, if they go back to class, they can get the knowledge and skills. And then the values, of course, there. If they're like the science center that studio that you've just seen, the learners really, change the attitude towards their learning. So we realize how powerful it is that we can be able to do in our own way. And we also are, talking about, like Prof, you said, about problem solving. A lot of us, we realize we always complain. But I think for us, we believe, let's not complain, let's see what we can do. And that's why we have come up with this center, and we look forward even to keep on improving, and especially with your guidance, so that we can be able to impact our society.
The most critical stage, as I said, in terms of thinking about careers, is the junior school, because this is the last stage of exposing learners to the entire range of learning areas, the entire range of knowledge, skills, values, attitudes, and attributes is realized at junior school. And remember, junior school coincides with a critical age in human life. Age 12 to age 15. That is the age when human beings are most exploratory. That is the age bracket when human beings are most flexible. They want to do one thing today, the next day they think they can do something else. So that is the age to allow these learners to experiment. As I indicated earlier, we should not really be judging, even when we assess them. We should be looking at the assessment as assessment for learning, assessment as learning, not assessment of learning. There's a difference. The for learning and the as learning means assessment is able to let us know what are the attributes of these children. Pathways now specifically come into the CBC curriculum at senior school. That's a level at which we say the learners should largely, and please underline the word largely, have made a decision with the help of everybody around them, the teachers, the parents, and other support systems, on which pathway they may want to take. But we are saying largely because, one, legally these people are still children, remember, until they become 18. And the children should still not be quite curtailed. So if you find, they have told our senior school teachers this, if they find learners who have not quite decided by grade 10, grade 11, let them be allowed. So some children will even say, no, at this point I want to take, they are supposed to have a minimum of 7 learning areas, or a maximum. But if they say I want to try 10 at grade 11, allow them to try those 10. At that time, they're beginning to be very conscious about career opportunities, and maybe one day they are told hakuna kazi kwa hii kitu unasoma. The next day they are told kuna kazi kwa udaktari. The next day they see doctors on streets. They say no, I don't want to be. So that is still an opportunity to change what they may want to do. And that's why we are saying we are not going to necessarily lock up learners in a pathway. A learner will at least identify 2 learning areas out of the 7 that they want to take in a pathway. We have also suggested that we still have at least 4 core learning areas. Then now they can decide to take 2 or 1 or more from the other pathways.